Hello viewers. In this video, we'll be talking about role of Doordarshan in development. So in this video, I'll be talking about history of Doordarshan, role of Doordarshan in development, especially with the areas of education, farming, and social development.
For generations, Indians relied on radio for news, views and entertainment. The scene changed dramatically with the advent of television. A leading European company exhibited its closed-circuit TV equipment at an international exposition in India in 1959. At the end of the expo, the equipment was gifted to the people of India, and, encouraged by UNESCO, the government decided to utilize it for educational purposes.
So taking the discussion further, educational television or the STV, which is also known as the school television, was launched in 1961 to support the middle and higher level education. It generally used to teach subjects like science, mathematics and language, which was duly appreciated by the UNESCO experts. The teachers also thought it to be an innovative tool for teaching and presentation of the content. So the countrywide classrooms initiative of the UGC, that is the University Grants Commission, specially dedicated for the higher education, was also started broadcasting in Doordarshan in 1984 with 1 hour educational program. In order to boost the educational telecast, because so much of a focus was given onto the education, a satellite channel named Doordarshan was launched in 2000 in collaboration with the Ministry of Human Resource Development and the IGNOU University. So let's focus on some of the landmark initiatives in development using a television, right? Or with the Doordarshan that has come up with. The journey of television in India took a new turn with the launch of a satellite instructional television experiment in 1975 and 76, which is also known as SITE. It was a 1-year pilot project using the National Aeronautics and Space Administration ATS-6 satellite to broadcast the educational messages to 2,400 villages in states like Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Bihar, Odisha, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. So this whole thing was started especially with an objective to improve the rural primary education, providing the teacher training, improving the agriculture, health and hygiene and nutritional practices, and providing people education about all these things.
Upgrah Kendras of Doordarshan were set up in Delhi, Cuttack and Hyderabad with full production facilities. SITE was a most ambitious and unique project in the history of television anywhere in the world. This prepared the ground for a major expansion of the television network across India. With increase in viewership, there was a sharp rise in the number of households with TV sets.
So one of the another landmark initiatives in the development communication by using television was the Kheda Communication Project, also known as the Pitch TV, right? It used a 1 kilometer transmitter to telecast the program. And this project was launched in 1976 for the empowerment and the participatory rural development, right? It was India's first effort at the decentralized community television that broadcasted and received the prestigious UNESCO IPDC prize for the rural communication effectiveness, right? And through this project, around 650 community television sets were provided to the 400 villages and installed at the public places. So one of the reasons for the success of the Kheda Communication Project was its ability to tap into the existing development infrastructure of Kheda district, right? It collaborated basically with the extension agencies that was working in dairy farming or agriculture and health services, and also with the local banks, cooperatives, and employment exchanges, right? So, recognizing its contribution towards the development, UNESCO noted that Kheda was an exceptional example of combining of the modern technologies with the participatory approach to communication. The project employed traditional cultural expressions of a rural community in creation for its audiovisual programs while using the modern evaluation techniques for its program. So the reason for the success of the Kera communication project was that it worked very closely, right, with the extension agencies and the people of the rural people of the Kera district, right. It worked very closely with the people who are working into the dairy farming or into the agriculture sector or into the health services, and also with the help of the local banks, cooperatives, and employment exchanges, right? So these they basically created content or the audiovisual programs that had the people or the rural people working into the same district to impart the information to the rural people. So now let's focus on to the role of Doordarshan in the development communication of the farming, right? So I hope we've all heard of a program named Krishi Darshan, right, which was so popular and familiar with the farming community. So this program used to be telecasted on Wednesday and Fridays. It was a 20 minutes program, and it served nearly around 80 villages nearby Delhi, right? And because they already had the community television sets. So this pilot project was basically initiated by the Department of Atomic Energy in collaboration with the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, right? All India Radio, the Indian Agriculture Research Institute also played, and of course the Delhi administration also played a major role into it.
This was the genesis of Krishi Darshan. The country was poised on the threshold of the Green Revolution, and television played a significant role as its harbinger.
So let's now focus also on to how Doordarshan played an important role onto the social development, because Doordarshan was very proactive in creating education, in working in the sectors like education and farming. So also it had certain programs that created awareness about the social issues, especially like family planning, immunization, nutrition of the mother and the child, and of course it used to highlight onto the certain things like girl child and some other issues. So much thing was being initiated or was into the process of taking the shapes. It also had certain loopholes into the process of development communication, and the major one of the major reason for the failure of the development communication campaigns through Doordarshan television was their lack of coordination with the field level agencies. Like Khera project did it with the local community members, but majority of the campaigns could not do it with the other programs, right? And with the advent of the advertisements in Doordarshan, the lesser attention was paid to the site project and the Khera experiments further on for a longer period of time. Another reason for the say the lack of the implementation of the or the success of the development communication campaigns by Doordarshan was the inability of the state agencies to provide the backup facilities in rural areas. That was also one of the major reasons of the failure of the campaigns. So, in order to manage these development programs more efficiently, right? So, Doordarshan was later on divided into two wings. That was the DCD, that is the Development Communication Division, and the another one was narrowcasting. So the development communication division majorly concentrates on the health and sanitization and other developmental issues, while narrowcasting deals with more agriculture and allied subjects. Talking a little bit about the base of the DCD, it was established in Doordarshan in March in around 2001 to cater communication needs of the various ministers and departments and the public sector undertakings, right? So it offered solutions and covered all the aspects of media planning, the software production, scheduling, and impact evaluation. So it also provided the production facilities, consultation, and customized media plans for the programs in the countrywide in regional languages also. And it used to take a feedbacks and provide the further on research things back to the client so that they can produce further more programs which are beneficial for the people. And within a short span of its inception only, DCD had succeeded in revitalizing in-house production activities within Doordarshan. It basically specialized in the bi-media campaigns, which involved both Doordarshan and AIR, thus ensuring a balanced media exposure for the social public interest campaigns, right, of the clients and ministers.
Internationally renowned director Satyajit Ray produced Sadgati, based on a classic Hindi short story written by Premchand. Tapan Sinha made Aadmi Aur Aurat, specially for Doordarshan.
अरे वकीलगंज कोनो छोटी जगह नहीं चे वकीलगंज कहाँ.
The pioneering program was Hum Log, a Hindi soap opera that highlighted the challenges of social change in a tradition-bound society. Bunyad powerfully evoked the tragedy of the partition and the communal carnage that followed in its wake. It cast a magical spell over audiences. It was reported that when Bunyad was telecast, the streets in Pakistani cities were deserted. Everyone was glued to their TV sets. Revisiting the past may have been painful, but it was cathartic for many and allowed the younger generation to look beyond the scars.
So talking about the role of the DCD, right, in producing the programs, right? So what sort of program have they produced for the social development? So for example, Gramin Bharat on rural development, Bhumi on environment, right? Jain Jaiti Darpan on tribal affairs, Khel Khel Mein Badlo Duniya, petroleum conservations, Jal Jeevan on water conservation, Paisa Hamara, Faisla Tumhara, on financial matter, and then there are programs on the female, infanticides, and then Aprajita on girl child, Jago Grahak Jago on consumer affairs. So these are some of the programs that the DCD produced, especially to cater to the developmental issues. And Kalyani and the other initiator of the DCD on HIV/AIDS awareness. And detective series like Jasoos Vijay were presented to the UN Secretary General at the launch of the global media, right, AIDS initiatives in January 2004, and to the Prime Minister of India at the HIV/AIDS National Media Summit in January 2005. So now talking about another division, which was the narrowcasting, right? So with a view to cater to the area-specific information, narrowcasting was started by Doordarshan in 2000. So covering 12 low power transmitters with the program of the local genre was telecasted once or twice a week, right? So on the success of this experiment, the agriculture program on this concept funded by the Ministry of Agriculture was started in 12 PGF centers in 2004. The narrowcasting basically, focused on to the areas like agriculture, horticulture, veterinary sciences, and how the developments were taking place in day-to-day activities. So there are programs that talked about the technology used, the schemes provided by the government, the success stories of the farmers, and the weather and the market prices. So in addition to the agriculture programs, right, under narrowcasting, the Doordarshan also telecasted its own agriculture program from its regional kendras all over the country in regional languages and dialects so that even people feel connected to it. So thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.